Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's roundup of the USE minis for yesterday, which was Monday the 1st of October, I want to show how sometimes we can have a harder day, and this is true with all trading, is that some days are hard, and there's very few gurus or software vendors will ever show bad examples or hard days because it doesn't sell software. But MTPredictor here, we're focused on trading and traders, and we know full well that the market unfolds in cycles. We had a very good run of profitable trades over the last few days of last week, so it's no surprise at all that today was probably, or yesterday I should say, was a slightly harder day. So I want to have a look at a couple of buy setups we had here on the 3-minute ES. At first sight, they were standard MTPredictor trade setups because the STF was blue. However, for the more advanced traders among you, and this is what we're looking at in our training webinar yesterday, we always go to the 15-minute charts to look at the larger degree trend. And I'll just take this DP off and show you where we placed it on the chart. We placed it on the chart from that prior pivot. So the YM looked very strong yesterday. In other words, it had gone beyond its decision point resistance and was hovering around here, and quite frankly didn't really give us much to go on. The ES was a little bit better because this is our decision point that we're working with yesterday. It was placed off this pivot here, and as you can see, the market yesterday rallied up into this strongly, reversed back down, and then that actually gave the high for the market, then declining for the rest of the day. The NQ was basically a double top, so if I go to this pivot and I put a high tag on, you can see that yesterday's high was basically a double top there. But the clearest market of all was the Russell Index. I'll just take this decision point off and show you this yesterday. So remember, this is on your charts before the market even got there, and one of our customers in the webinar was looking at this himself yesterday. So if you put a decision point on from here, you can see it's on your chart there in advance. Now this is the power of these, because as the Russell Index opened, it rallied and went right up into this high, and just look where the high of the day was, right at that high there. So here we had the situation where we had the Russell Index and the ES on 15-minute charts at decision point resistance, the Nasdaq at a double top, and the YM looking strong and not quite so clear. So this then comes back to what is the larger degree trend when we look at the ES after this high here. Remember that this is the high made in the 15-minute decision point resistance, so the market is then anticipated to decline. So the advanced traders among you would have been avoiding these buy setups, or at very least would have moved your stops to break even, and as such been aggressively managing any long trades. In other words, they knew that the overall trend was down. So okay, bear in mind that advanced traders would have been avoiding these buy setups. Were there any short trades to take advantage of? Well, quite frankly, the market didn't unfold in any kind of pattern that allowed us to get a short trade. The one trade setup that our customer was looking at, who had this 15-minute DP on the Russell Index. I'll just place it back on here so you can see what we mean. There it is there. So if I now go back to the 3-minute chart, here's our 15-minute decision point. And what he was looking at, quite rightly, was that this was a major high. The market declined down. This would have been a wave 1. Market declined back again. He then was looking for an ABC correction into ideally a wave 2 or B, or wave 2 in particular high, to then take a holy grail short. Now yes, indeed, the market did decline very nicely from this level here, but there was no minor ABC correction or wave in this correction, so we didn't get a holy grail trade set up. This is what I was talking about in yesterday's webinar, in that sometimes you can do perfect setups, the market, or do perfect preparation I should say, the market basically behaves exactly as your large degree trend analysis suggested. In this case, this user nailed the high of the day. He got the initial decline, got the initial correction, and the market did decline. But sometimes the market, quite frankly, doesn't unfold to give us a low risk trade setup. Now, as professional traders, we know that's okay, because as professional traders, we're not going to chase the market. We know and understand that the best trades are when everything comes together to give us the best pattern, to give us the low risk trade setup. And this is a good training example just for all you guys out there to understand that sometimes you can do some great analysis but the market just doesn't give you a trade setup, and that's perfectly acceptable. And this is partly why I'm doing the video today, to show you that sometimes the markets don't unfold as we anticipate, and that is just the fact of trading. And as professional traders, we all must know and understand and accept that. Interesting enough though, as the market, as this Russell index declined down here, later on in the day, it did behave very nicely. In fact, I'll just take that analysis off because that's what I had on there earlier, in that the market did decline down beautifully from this high of the day here. Remember, we're not considering buy setups because the trend's down. However, just look how it unfolded. Down into here, if we right mouse click, look where the low of the day was, right at the typical wave 5 WBT for a 5-wave decline. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We then anticipate that off the completion of a 5-wave sequence, the market is then going to rally into the DP from the prior wave 4, which is off this high here, and just look where the Russell index rallied to, right up to that decision point for then before then backing off. So on the Russell index, it was actually a very, very, very good day yesterday, in that for our larger degree analysis, if I put the DP on from there, there's your 15-minute DP. So from our larger degree analysis, we come down to the 5-minute chart. We actually nailed the very high of the day with our 15-minute DP. The market then declined beautifully down in 5 waves to then stop with the low of the day right at the typical wave 5 WPT. We then got a lovely strong rally off that into our 5-minute DP high before then backing off. So absolutely perfect pattern. It was just a real pity that we didn't get the ABC correction up into that wave 2 high for the Holy Grail short. But then, as I've said or earlier in this video, that's just trading. And this is what this video is about, is that sometimes the markets don't play ball and come together to give you the low risk trade setups. But even though that you don't get a low risk trade setup, sometimes your overall analysis can be absolutely spot on, as in the Russell index here, in that we nailed the very high of the day and nailed the very low of the day. So bottom line, do your preparation and get ready for potential trade setups, but sometimes markets can be frustrating and not give you the trade setups you are anticipating, but that is just the cyclical nature of trading. As I said at the beginning of the video, we had some very, very good days and very, very good profitable trades in the the latter part of last week, so it's absolutely no surprise at all that the trades are a little bit quieter, or the market's a little bit quieter as we go into the start of this week.